Ladies and gentlemen, life is not a game of chance. It's not a roll of the dice, a flip of the coin, a spin of the wheel. No, winning is an art, and like any art, it demands discipline, sacrifice, and an unrelenting commitment to mastery. You don't stumble into victory, you don't luck your way to the top. You forge it through blood, sweat, and the sheer force of will. So what does it mean to win? Is it wealth, power, fame? Those are shadows, illusions. Real winning is the mastery of self. It's standing in the arena of life, battered but unbroken, and knowing that you have done everything in your power to rise. Because the world does not hand out trophies for participation. The world rewards those who dare to demand more from themselves, from life, from the very fabric of existence. You must understand this. Suffering is inevitable, pain is inevitable, struggle is inevitable. But defeat, that's a choice. Every time you give in to fear, every time you let laziness dictate your actions, every time you blame the world for your failures, you are choosing defeat. And the universe will oblige. It will grind you into dust if you let it. But if you stand up, if you take responsibility, if you refuse to be broken, then, and only then, do you enter the realm of winners. Winning begins with a vision. Not a vague wish, not a half-hearted dream, but a crystal, clear image of what you are striving toward. You must see it, feel it, breathe it. Because without vision, you are wandering in the dark, stumbling from one distraction to the next, never building, never ascending. A ship without a rudder is at the mercy of the storm. But a ship with a destination that cuts through the waves, no matter how violent, no matter how relentless. Then comes discipline, the bridge between desire and achievement. Talent is cheap, inspiration is fleeting, but discipline, that is the iron will that drags you out of bed when every fiber of your being wants to stay down. That is the voice that says, one more rep, one more page, one more hour of focus. Discipline is the difference between the man who dreams and the man who does. And make no mistake, the world is built by the doers. You will fail. Not once, not twice, but 1,000 times over. And each failure is a test. Will you crumble? Will you make excuses? Or will you learn, adapt, and return stronger? Winners are not those who never fall. They are those who rise every single time. Because failure is not the opposite of success. It is the tuition you pay on the path to mastery. And then there is fear, the great paralyzer, the whisper in the dark that says, you're not good enough. You'll embarrass yourself. You'll lose everything. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is your compass. It points you toward the things that matter, the challenges that will forge you into something greater. The man who feels no fear is not brave. He is a fool. Bravery is feeling that fear, acknowledging it, and then stepping forward anyway. You must also surround yourself with those who demand your best. The wrong company will drag you down, soften your edges, make you comfortable in mediocrity. But the right company, they will sharpen you. They will call you out when you're slacking. They will push you beyond what you thought possible. Because winning is not a solitary act. It is a collective ascent, a rising tide that lifts all ships. And when you do rise, when you finally grasp that victory you've fought for, do not grow complacent. The moment you believe you've made it is the moment you begin to decay. Winning is not a destination, it is a way of being. It is the constant pursuit of excellence, the refusal to settle, the understanding that there is always another mountain to climb. So, ask yourself, what is your vision? What is your discipline? What fear are you avoiding? Because the art of winning is not reserved for the chosen few. It is available to anyone willing to pay the price. And the price is everything you've got. Now, go out there and claim it. Winning begins not with the trophy, not with the applause, not with the external validation that fades as quickly as it arrives. It begins in the silent, unobserved moments. The pre-dawn hours when the world sleeps and you choose to rise. The extra repetition when no one is watching. The decision to push beyond comfort when every muscle and every excuse begs you to stop. Mastery of self is the foundation upon which all victory is built, because without it, even the greatest opportunities crumble in your grasp. You cannot command an army if you cannot command your own mind. You cannot lead others if you cannot govern your own impulses. You cannot sustain success if you are ruled by laziness, fear, or the fleeting highs of momentary pleasure. The first battle is always internal. Before you can conquer the world, you must conquer yourself. That means mastering your thoughts. The endless stream of doubts, distractions, and self-sabotaging narratives that whisper you aren't good enough, that it's too hard, that failure is inevitable. These are not truths, they are tests. The mind is a battlefield, and every day you either reinforce weakness or cultivate strength. The disciplined mind does not entertain excuses. It does not wallow in self-pity. It does not crumble under pressure. It focuses, adapts, and overcomes. This is why the ancient warriors trained first in meditation, in breath control, in the art of stillness, because a chaotic mind loses before the fight even begins. Then comes the mastery of emotion. Emotion is a storm, unpredictable, overwhelming, capable of capsizing even the strongest will if left unchecked. Anger can blind you, fear can paralyze you, overconfidence can destroy you. But emotion, when harnessed, becomes fuel. The fire that should burn you can instead forge you. The key is not to suppress feeling, but to direct it, to channel it into action rather than reaction. The warrior who controls his temper strikes with precision. The leader who masters her fear makes clear decisions under pressure. The artist who transmutes sorrow into creation produces timeless work. Emotion is not your enemy, lack of discipline is. Next is the body, the vessel through which all action flows. You cannot separate the physical from the mental, the spiritual, the strategic. A weak body breeds a weak mind. Fatigue erodes willpower. Sickness derails ambition. Neglect your health, and you are sabotaging your own potential before you even begin. The body must be trained not for vanity, not for superficial approval, but for function, for endurance, for resilience, for the ability to outlast, outwork, and outperform. The greatest thinkers, the most brilliant strategists, the most visionary leaders have all understood this. A sharp mind requires a strong body. You cannot think clearly when you are sluggish. You cannot innovate when you are exhausted. You cannot lead when you are frail. Then there is the mastery of time, the most finite and irreplaceable resource you possess. Every moment wasted is a fragment of your future surrendered. Procrastination is not laziness, it is cowardice, the avoidance of difficulty, the silent admission that you fear the effort required to succeed. Time must be guarded like a fortress, allocated with precision, spent only on what moves you forward. Distraction is the thief of destiny. The undisciplined mind chases novelty, the immediate dopamine hit of trivial victories, likes, notifications, empty entertainment. The disciplined mind invests in the long game, in the compound interest of daily effort that eventually yields unstoppable momentum. And finally, the mastery of purpose. Without a why, discipline becomes torture. Without a mission, resilience has no direction. You must know what you are fighting for, not just what you want to achieve, but why it matters. Purpose is the anchor in chaos, the compass in darkness. When failure comes, and it will, when doubt creeps in, and it will, when the world seems indifferent to your struggle, and it often will, purpose is what drags you back to your feet. It is the unshakable belief that the pain is worth it, that the sacrifice is necessary, that the pursuit itself is meaningful. This is the essence of self-mastery, the integration of mind, emotion, body, time, and purpose into a single, unstoppable force. It is not a destination, but a daily practice. Relentless commitment to showing up, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Because winning is not an event, it is a habit. It is the sum of every small choice, every resisted temptation, every silent victory over weakness. The world does not care about your intentions. It does not care about your potential. It rewards only what you manifest. What you have the courage, the discipline, and the tenacity to demand of yourself. So the question is not whether you are capable of greatness. The question is whether you are willing to pay the price. Vision without discipline is hallucination. It's the map without the journey, the blueprint without the construction, the dream without the grind, and discipline without vision. That's just motion without meaning. A hamster spinning its wheel, working hard but going nowhere. But when you fuse the two, that's when you become an unstoppable force. That's when the impossible starts bending to your will. Vision is your North Star. It's not some vague wish, I want to be successful, is meaningless. What does success look like? How will you know when you've arrived? Vision is crystalline clarity. It's the ability to close your eyes and see the future you're building down to the finest detail. The great ones don't just stumble into greatness, they see it first. Michelangelo didn't just hack at marble. He saw David trapped inside before he ever lifted a chisel. Bezos didn't just stumble upon Amazon. He mapped out the future of commerce on a cross-country road trip before the internet was mainstream. Your vision must be so sharp it cuts through doubt, so vivid it pulls you forward even when everything in you wants to quit. But vision alone is just potential energy. Without discipline, it's a firework, bright, dazzling, and gone in an instant. Discipline is what turns one day into day one. It's the daily decision to show up when no one's watching, to do the work when no one's applauding, to push past the point where others settle. The world's most brilliant ideas have died in the graveyard of good intentions because they weren't backed by relentless execution. Discipline is the bridge. It's the 1,000 unseen steps between where you are and where you want to be. And here's the brutal truth. It's not glamorous. It's waking up an hour earlier when your body screams for sleep. It's choosing the salad when you crave the burger. It's turning off Netflix to study, to train, to build while everyone else is being entertained into mediocrity. Discipline is the tax you pay on the path to greatness, and the currency never depreciates. The magic happens when these two forces lock together. Vision pulls you forward, discipline pushes you. Vision inspires, discipline implements. Vision sees the summit, discipline climbs it. When Steve Jobs imagined the iPhone, that was vision. But the years of 80, our weeks, the relentless iterations, the refusal to ship anything less than perfect, that was discipline. When Kobe Bryant dreamed of being the greatest, that was vision. But the 4 a.m. workouts, the 800 jump shots before breakfast, the obsessive film study, that was discipline. This equation, vision plus discipline, is how ordinary people achieve extraordinary things. It's how J.K. Rowling went from welfare to wizardry, how Elon Musk built rockets while everyone laughed, how underdogs topple giants. The pattern never changes. First see it, then bleed for it. Most people fail not from lack of talent, but from lack of this equation. They have dreams but no daily grind, or they grind but toward no clear target. The unstoppable ones, they marry the two. Their vision is so clear it's terrifying. Their discipline is so ruthless it's intimidating. They don't hope for success. They architect it brick by brick, day by day. This is how you bend reality, not through luck, not through wishing, but through the alchemy of seeing what others can't and doing what others won't. The path isn't complicated, but it is hard. The question isn't whether you can do it. The question is whether you will, day after day, year after year, until the vision isn't ahead of you anymore, it's beneath your feet. Fear is the compass that points toward your growth. It doesn't signal where to retreat. It marks the exact territory you must conquer. That knot in your stomach before a big presentation, the hesitation before taking a risk. The voice whispering you're not ready, that's not your enemy, that's your curriculum. Every great evolution in your life waits on the other side of fear. The moment you feel it, you've found the threshold where your old self ends and your new self begins. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. The athlete terrified of the weight room builds no strength. The entrepreneur afraid of rejection makes no sales. The artist scared of criticism never ships their work. Fear isn't the obstacle, it's the invitation. The question isn't whether you'll feel fear. Everyone does. But whether you'll let it dictate your boundaries or whether you'll use it as fuel to expand them. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's the tuition. Every master was once a disaster. Every expert was once a beginner who refused to quit. When you fall, the ground teaches you what no book ever could. Edison didn't fail 1,000 times. He discovered 1,000 ways the light bulb wouldn't work. Michael Jordan got cut from his high school team. Oprah was fired from her first TV job. What separated them wasn't immunity to failure, but their relationship with it. They understood that failure is data, not destiny. Each misstep adjusts your trajectory. Each collapse reveals structural weaknesses in your approach. The person who never fails isn't impressive. They're playing so far beneath their potential that they never test their limits. The most dangerous lie we believe is that competence precedes action, that you must wait until you're no longer afraid, until you're guaranteed not to fail. The truth is brutal and liberating. You become competent by acting despite fear through repeated failures. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the judgment that something else matters more. The soldier charging the battlefield feels terror but values mission over safety. The founder risking everything feels doubt but prizes vision over security. Your fears spotlight where you need to grow. Your failures reveal how to grow there. Consider the body's wisdom. Muscles don't strengthen until they're stressed past comfort. Bones don't densify until bearing heavier loads. The immune system doesn't toughen without exposure to threats. Your psyche operates by the same iron law. You grow only by wrestling with what challenges you. The parent who shelters their child from every stumble raises someone brittle. The leader who avoids hard decisions cultivates incompetence. The artist who fears imperfect work guarantees they'll never create great work. The marketplace of achievement has no mercy for the fragile. Nature weeds out what doesn't adapt. Business crushes what doesn't innovate. Relationships falter without conflict resolution. Every system, biological, professional, personal, demands friction to evolve. Your fear of difficult conversations leaves relationships superficial. Your avoidance of financial risk keeps you trapped in mediocrity. Your terror of embarrassment chains you to conformity. The very things you avoid hold the nutrients for your next level. Winning isn't about avoiding failure, it's about failing forward faster than everyone else. Silicon Valley's mantra, fail fast, fail often, isn't just startup jargon, it's the algorithm for acceleration. Each failure is a stepping stone if you're learning. The baseball legend with a 300 batting average fails 7 out of 10 times. The venture capitalist backing 10 companies expects 9 to flop. The difference between amateurs and pros isn't failure rate, it's extraction rate. Amateurs see failure as indictment, pros see it as intelligence. Here's how the masters play the game. They dissect fear to discover its source. Is it fear of judgment? Reveals where you're overvaluing others' opinions. Fear of inadequacy highlights skills needing development. Fear of uncertainty signals where you must build tolerance for ambiguity. They autopsy failures without shame. What specifically went wrong? Was it preparation, timing, execution? Then they engineer solutions with the precision of scientists. The paradox, the more you lean into fear and failure, the less power they hold. The first rejection crushes you. The 100th makes you bulletproof. The initial stage fright paralyzes. After enough performances, it becomes anticipatory energy. What you repeatedly confront loses its fangs. The warrior isn't fearless. They've just befriended fear to the point where it sharpens rather than shatters them. This is why early struggle breeds eventual dominance. Kids who face moderate adversity develop resilience. Those coddled become adults who crumble at life's inevitable storms. Startups that weather near death experiences emerge leaner and meaner. Nations that endure hardship outlast those grown fat on comfort. Your darkest moments aren't setbacks. They're forge fires where your metal gets tempered. The path isn't complicated. Identify what frightens you. That's your growth edge. Note where you're failing. That's your curriculum. Most quit here. They mistake the pruning process for the funeral. But you'll understand that fear is the price of admission to a bigger life, and failure is just feedback in disguise. The more you embrace them, the more they shape you into someone who can handle what you once thought impossible. This is the alchemy of high achievers. They don't avoid the fire. They learn to work it like a blacksmith. Every fear becomes a challenge to accept. Every failure transforms into a lesson to absorb. The result, a being hardened by experience, adaptable under pressure, and fearless not because they avoid storms, but because they've learned to sail in them. The goal isn't to eliminate fear and failure, it's to develop the skills to leverage them. When you do, you don't just survive life's trials, you command them.